Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, the Honourable Member for Calgary Mountain View.
Speaker, happy to rise and speak to supplementary supply. Preface my remarks with the comment that these are difficult times. I think most of us, if not with family, have friends, connections that are suffering through these times. And I would acknowledge that everyone on the front bench is doing their utmost to look at ways and means to reduce costs and improve effectiveness, efficiency, and get the services and the infrastructure that this province desperately needs to provide for our short-term and perhaps longer-term future. There's no question also that we all want the best for Alberta. At the same time, we're challenged by a situation in which we have not had, as I have heard, independent reviews of these ministries. That, to me, should have been the first order of business with a new government coming in, an independent review of each ministry to identify strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats, spending, management issues, and looking for significant strategic weaknesses in the ministries. The second thing that I haven't heard the recognition of is that every public service has opportunities for efficiencies. I'm most aware of healthcare, where I hear from colleagues regularly about lost efficiencies and waste, frustration, duplication, lack of communication, siloed practice and siloed thinking, and a failure to take advantage of opportunities. So, I mean, if we heard more from the government on some of those two things, independent reviews of your ministries and independent assessment in each of the services around where there could be efficiencies, I think we'd feel a lot better about these supplementary supply numbers. Delaying the budget, of course, means drawing down additional debt for operational budgets, and it does send a troubling message about the commitment to prudence and the debt servicing that will go well into the future, and the need to see, I would certainly like to see more indications of how this government plans to deal with it, whether it's in relation to bonds, in relation to the various diversification plans that they have, or printing more money with the federal government. I don't know how that's going to work. I am pleased to see that federally there's a more positive relationship between federal and provincial governments, and more common values between these two governments around issues that I care a lot about: First Nations, health, environment. These are encouraging. The areas that I am aware that I can support some changes. Environment and Parks got an extra $1 million, which is largely flood mitigation, and unfortunately it ignores some of the critical deficiencies in our Environment Department today. Their lack of technical expertise, their lack of resources to do proper monitoring, their lack of enforcement capacity, and certainly their lack of any clear commitment then to the new parks, the Castle Crown Parks area. How are they budgeting for the kind of changes that are coming to that park, with roads, with campgrounds, with any serious commitment to really bringing tourism, the tremendous opportunities of tourism, and attracting our own people to this wonderful new park that they have identified. The second area I can obviously support is education. We are way behind in schools. There's no question that we need more teachers, and I applaud the government for stepping up with the needed teachers this year. Early childhood services, clearly a deficit. We are creating problems for the future if we don't identify children with learning needs, emotional needs, behavioral needs early, get them the supports they need, the families the supports they need, and gear them up for success. The third area, with reservations, I can support is the ASLI grants, the Affordable Supportive Living Initiative. Unfortunately, the conundrum there is that this government has repeatedly said they do not support private long-term care. And here they are continuing the grant program to private alternate seniors care, which has been shown to be less quality and standards that are not consistently met in terms of staffing and quality of care. I mean, standards of training for their staff. There are obviously some questions I have about a government that says in opposition they don't support private alternatives to seniors care, and here they are continuing the ASLA grants. So I think that needs to be looked at. But overall, I guess I feel the same as I do about interim, that there has been a lack of evidence that we've done the homework that we need to, that we've limited, especially in operational budgets. That's something that's been raised again and again, but it needs to be said. If we're not prepared to do some of the tough work of limiting operational budgets and living within our means, then we're sending a very difficult message, I think, to our ratepayers, our taxpayers, and I can't support that at this time. Thanks very much, Madam Speaker.